There are some common layouts for spreadsheets that I think we should talk about for a couple minutes. This first one that I have up on the screen now is the common for financial things like certainly financial statements that you've seen, but also for budgeting. We'd also use this for business planning. Virtually anything with finances is done this way or is easily understood this way. And this has a number of different boxes. You can see the top one up here, this yellowish box. We put all our revenues up here. Sometimes for a budget that might be a single line. Other times we have several different ways we generate revenue. And so we would have a line for each one of those. Now, the other thing that we would note here is that you can have just one column if it's appropriate, or you might have, in this case, 12 columns, or maybe 12 columns for each month, or maybe you have 4 columns, one for each quarter, or something, whatever is appropriate. Okay. At the bottom of the revenue thing, you put subtotals. We have the same sort of a box for costs. So each one of our different categories of costs will detail on a month-by-month or quarter-by-quarter or a single basis. And then we produce a subtotal there of all of our costs. And in the gross profits, we subtract our costs from our revenues, and that gives us gross profits. Now, in a lot of places, that's where we stop. We don't care. And those are the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, which in fact is our next box. That's the interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization is including the next one down. And then at the very bottom, we would subtract the total of those from our gross profits, and get our net profits. So that's kind of the financial layout. Straightforward enough. You've seen it, and now you know where you would use it. The second one I'm going to look at here is the thing I call it islands. Here we have a bunch of separate little calculations. Everything above this, above the line here, are parameters. Like we talked about feng shui, so everything up here is a parameter. Down below, then we calculate. We have the number of separate little calculations, and then at the very bottom we have our concluding calculations. And so that's what I call islands, little islands of calculation based on what needs to be calculated to get to our final solution. The next one I'm going to look at is a time series, and let me make this just a bit bigger for you. A time series is something where we are making a long series. We're looking at a series of calculations. Here is if you retired at age 62. I know you're not going to retire yet, but if you retired at age 62 and you had COLA that you got adjusted every year, we assume 2% here. The column C is the total that you've received so far in the thing, and then the column D is actually your monthly check from Social Security. So this is just a calculation that goes on and on and on for as long as you think that you need it. I only went up to age 68 here, but you might want to do that through 85 or something like that. But this is a typical sort of a calculation for what I would call a time series. A fourth type of layout is this one, and this is what I call the linear programming layout. This is similar to the standard form where you would write out a linear program or mathematical programming formulation in standard form. We identify the changing cells at the top. Those might be the different products or whatever is appropriate for your linear program. And in Solver, then these would be the changing cells in Solver. We also calculate an objective. The things that get put into these green cells are just the coefficients in our objective function. And then we use a sum product formula to calculate the total. So that'd be the total cost or total profit, if that's what we're trying to minimize or maximize appropriately. And then down below in this box, we put the coefficients for our constraints appropriate for each one of our products. And we use the same sum product formula again to calculate our totals. And then the G column here, I usually just put a symbol in there to if it's less than or greater than or equal to. And on the very right then is the constraint, the total amount of the constraint. So we might we might want all of the labor. The constraint one would be a labor constraint, and we want to add all that up for all of our products, and we want that to be less than 200 hours or something like that. So you put the 200 over here in the I'm not sure what color box it is, a dark pink box. The last layout that I wanted to talk about, and again, let me make that a little bit bigger for you, is this layout. This is what I call a beginning and ending layout. We begin with a balance. For example, a mortgage balance. We would calculate in between in the green box here. We would calculate, say, the interest and principal payments, and then we have an ending balance for the month. So we might have, as I said, interest here, principal payment here, and perhaps escrow here, and then that we would have an ending balance. And that ending balance, the thing that makes this work, is the ending balance is the beginning balance for the next month, and that happens for however long the loan is, or however many periods of if you're keeping track of inventory. This type of layout is commonly used. It's nice to have it in your toolbox so that you can use that when it's appropriate. So those are 5 different types of layouts that are commonly seen in developing a spreadsheet.